And now we are back. It's me, Lucky. I'm the driver, and Bhabha is going to be my navigator. Now we are doing chapter 4, which is a search widget, right? So don't mind that it says Bitcoin price checker here. That's just a false lapse in. I forgot to update from my part. So the HTML, once again, we include the HTMX using the script tag here, and then we link our bootstrap here. We have our div with the class of container. We have a heading that says search users, and then as you can see, we have an input here, and then our input is of type text. It's a form control class. It's just for bootstrap styling. It has the name of search, and there's a placeholder. Start typing to search, and then now we get to our HTMX attributes. The first one is HX post, which is basically making a post request to this root here, which is slash search. And then the second one is HX trigger, which is basically similar to an event listener, and it's going to trigger when the input is changed, and it's going to delay by half a second on search, right? So basically it's two triggers that we have. When input is changed, will delay by 500 milliseconds, and also the other trigger is when we actually make the search, right? And then we have a target here, HX target. Our target is the element that has the ID of search results, and then we're just going to explain what that is soon. And then we have a table here, and then the table has the class of table. We have the table head, which is basically like the heading, the top part of the table. It has first and last here, right? These are the two columns that we have, and then we have the table body. As you can see, the table body is empty, right? And the table body is what has that's the target, that's what has the ID of search results. So we are going to be using our HTMX and JavaScript to our HTMX and JavaScript to manipulate this, to populate this table here, add rows and columns, right? So going to our server.js, as you can see, we have we have this app.post to handle our post request. As you can see, the root is slash search. Again, we have an asynchronous function that takes in a request and a response as a parameter, and then inside of that function we create a variable called search term, and search term is just going to go to the request, look for in the body, and it's going to look for search. Basically, that's, remember, this is a, oh sorry, wrong thing. So if you remember what's happening now, okay, there we go. So if you remember our input here, that's what has the name of search. So that's what this is going to where is it, there it is. That's what we're going to be grabbing from the HTML, and then we're going to convert it to lowercase, so that because now we're taking user input, case doesn't matter, it's going to be case insensitive. And then we have an if statement here. So our if statement is that if not search term, so basically if search term is null or search term evaluates to false, we're just gonna end the function here, and we're going to return an empty row, right? Because if you remember on index.html, this is whatever we're returning it into this body here, right? Into the body of this table here, and the body will just be populated with an empty row, and it's just gonna look empty. There will be nothing in that table. And then after that, basically if there is something, right, then we go on to the rest of our code, right? We create a variable called response. We use the await keyword. We fetch from this URL right here, which is our users API that has a list of users and their emails. And then we have another variable here, users, and we're going to await a response and then pass it to JSON. We're going to create search results, and then in search results we're going to filter, we are going to filter our responses, right? So we're going to basically loop through the users. This is going to return as an array, right? And we are going to loop through this. For each user, we're going to create a variable called name, and the user's name in lowercase is going to be stored here. We're going to create a variable called email, and the user's email, right? Because remember, this is a JavaScript object, so we're going to use dot notation to get the name and the email properties, and then convert them to lowercase. And then we're going to return if the name includes the search term. If you remember, the search term is what the user put here in the input box, right? So if it returns, if the name in the JSON that we fetched right from this URL, if the name found there includes the search term, we're just gonna return it, right? Or if the email includes the search term, we're gonna return that, right? But if this doesn't happen, we are going to create a search results HTML variable, and then inside of this we are going to use the map function, the map method. Basically what this does is going to loop through everything in our users array. It's going to loop through everything, and then for each element it's going to run this function here. So for every user's name that we got, and for every user's email that we got, we're gonna create a cell, basically like a column, a row with the user in the first column, and then a user with the user's name in the first column and the user's email on the first one, and then we're gonna use dot join basically to change it from an array element to a string, right? And then we're going to use the send method to our response to basically send back to our HTML the search results HTML, right, which is this right here, right, with the necessary data that we've collected from the link here and the user input, right? So I know that's a lot to take in. I'll explain it better on our browser where we can view it. As you can see here, this is the input box, right? So whatever we put here, that's what is going to be stored in our search term variable, right? And then if there's nothing, as you can see right now, there's nothing, it returns an empty row. As you can see, it's an empty row here. We have the table head here, and then in the table body there's nothing, it's just an empty row, right? So I can go here and click enter, I can refresh, it's just going to be an empty row. But if we do put something, right, if we do put something, and whatever we put here is in the user array, that's when we are going to put this, right? This is going to be updated on our HTML. We're going to have that row right here in our table body, right? And it's going to take this format here. It's going to have the user's name and the user email. So I'm going to make an example. I'm going to search, let's say LE. It loops through everything in it loops through everything in the JSON array. And then as you can see here, we have the user's name and their email. Everything, basically, remember we're looking for a substring here if it includes the search term. The search term is LE, so this is everything that includes LE. And then we can do another search term, let's say April. As you can see, we have an email here that is April as a substring. And then we can also use biz, and everything that is biz is returned here. So that is all for our search widget in chapter 4. Once again, my name was Lucky, I was the driver, and today I was with Bhabha as my navigator. Thank you.